Okay, I think we're recording right now. Beautiful. Let's start. So you are here because you most likely are working with large assemblies, or you might be an SOLIDWORKS programmer using API, and you develop programs for your own customers. Originally, this presentation was delivered at 3D Experience World just a month ago. It was a very much condensed. We had only 30 minutes available. And by the way, we read your reviews. I noticed to our surprise that many of you who attended the presentation are always attending this second one. So we'll make sure we're not gonna disappoint you. Based on your reviews, you found good stuff in that presentation, but it was too rushed. So now we have double the time, maybe even more for those of you who can stay a bit longer than 1 hour. And we're gonna be able to cover these topics in depth. And the first thing I'm gonna ask you to do is just read this slide. And maybe write in the chat just the numbers that resonate with you, things that you find out you either encounter difficulties with, maybe take a long time. Some of these activities might take a long time, or they're very repetitive. Like, for example, imagine at the end of the project, you finished everything, now it's time to save everything to PDF, and you have to open 150 drawings to do that. Or even if you automate that with a batch process, opening large drawings will take a long time. So you're gonna have a computer tied for a whole day, simply opening drawings, waiting for that, and then saving to PDF or printing. It wouldn't be nice if you can do the same thing in, I don't know, just a few minutes. So I say 2 and 5, and 6 seems to be, so opening, editing, and saving files. It's a big one. I see number 5 in your chat, something that you would like to be able to do. So quickly from File Explorer or from Large Design Review mode, get an accurate bill of material. Let's see, again, number 2 and number 6. Yeah, number 6 is a big one. Eliminate repetitive manual tasks.
Materials. Yeah, I think everything is covered here, right, Alan?
And now we can see you, Artem. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so thank you very much for. It looks like if you don't see, by the way, if you don't see any of these 8 statements in your daily activities, if they don't impact you, maybe this is not the right presentation for you. Working with large assemblies sometimes feels like climbing a high mountain. I don't know if it feels that for you, but sometimes it feels for me. And it's kind of interesting. SOLIDWORKS functionality has been expanded tremendously in the last, I'm going to say about 3 releases of SOLIDWORKS. Big improvements for large assemblies and huge improvements for large drawings. And it really takes you almost to the top. For the last 100 meters or so, or the last 1,000 of meter, you need oxygen. So you need something above what you can carry in your regular backpack. You might even need a Sherpa, a guide, somebody to take you up there. And I believe this is what this presentation is going to showcase. So we have probably the best guide in the world for high altitudes, Artem Taturevich, who's probably, you know him, he's the best SOLIDWORKS programmer in the world. Who's going to share with us how you can add on top of the existing SOLIDWORKS functionality to solve your goals, really, to reach your goals fast. And I want a special thank you to Mr. Leon Baumann from General Metal. He allowed us to use this file set for this presentation. So it's a very interesting potato box large assembly that we will use it in the presentation. So a couple of things about your presenter. I'm going to ask Artem to tell us a few things about himself, and then we're also going to have a slide with his company.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. So my name is Artem Taturevich, and for the last over 14 years, I've been developing products for SOLIDWORKS, SOLIDWORKS PDM, and other CADs. And last year, I have started Xerial, which is a company who is specialized in developing CAD API solutions. And I am an owner of CAD Plus, which we're going to show some of the functionality we're going to show you today. And also in my previous company, I was in charge of Sharptask. You might have heard of this tool. And I'm quite often hanging on SOLIDWORKS forums and SOLIDWORKS communities. Thank you,
Excellent.
Alan.
Thank you very much, Artem. So for those of you who haven't had a chance to sit with me in trainings or in other presentation, my name is Alin Vargatu from Javelin Technologies, the Canadian VAR. I'm the author of the Large Assembly and Drawing workshop and a few other large assembly services and import geometry training and things that are related to large assemblies. A big contributor to the SOLIDWORKS community. I'm getting a lot from you as SOLIDWORKS users, and I'm trying to give as much back in return, deliver lots of presentations. And thank you for all of you who activate in the SOLIDWORKS user group network. And thank you for voting me as the SOLIDWORKS application engineer of the year for 2020. That was probably the biggest award an application engineer can get. So thank you very much. I'm very grateful for that. A couple of things of this presentation. So this is not about teaching you how to write a program in SOLIDWORKS. It's not really a training course related to large assemblies. And you might say, okay, then what are we going to do in the next hour? Well, first of all, let's see who you are. You are the person on the most important person in this slide. You are where the rubber hits the road. You are the ones who are using SOLIDWORKS, and you are the ones who are, as you try to use the tool to get your job done, you might discover all kinds of problems, challenges, or you might have certain goals of improving your performance. And usually this is where I come into the picture, because many of you, and I recognize quite a lot of names, hello to all of those who have spent time with me, who partner with me and my colleagues in making your business faster, making your SOLIDWORKS work more productive. Usually the two of us or the 10 of us, if you involve more people from your team, sit down together, we take a look at your files, take a look at your workflow, and find out, first of all, the challenges, and then the factors that are slowing you down, and put together solutions for making it faster. And if you took the large assembly course, we're looking at settings, templates, and obviously training. You need to know how to use the tools the best way possible. But also in this process, we identify repetitive tasks. Like I can do the job. I can click 10 times and then times 10 again to get the job done. Why would we do that when we have somebody like Artem who can take what we define? So let's say we define the process. He's going to actually develop the tool for that. And you can see here how arrows are going in all directions, because once you are put together in contact with Artem, you might communicate with him together. And obviously you're going to keep me in the loop to make sure that you are using the software the best way possible in getting the job done. Artem, would you agree with this description?
Yes, absolutely, Alin. Yeah, this looks correct.
Excellent, thank you. A couple of words about Javelin Technologies. You can see in this picture, we are doing lots of things. We used to be known as the SOLIDWORKS guys in Canada, but we transcended that quite a few years ago. Pretty much think about us as your possible partners or your trusted partners if you have already engaged with us, not just for buying software for us, but for allowing us to learn as much as we can about you. You're going to be our teachers, and in return, we're going to help you maximize the value that you got from our products. One extra slide showing you our physical location. So these are the brick and mortar offices. One thing that's also good to know is that we actually have application engineers everywhere, from all the way from Halifax to Victoria. So our customers, if they have an issue and they call us, they're going to get a qualified person on extended hours. So that's one of the good things about being a Javelin customer. And I'm going to let Artem tell us a few things about Zarial.
Just a couple of words. So I founded that company last year, and I mainly specialize like in three main areas. So I do free and open source tools. You can download free macros, free tools. If you're a software developer, have some libraries to streamline your SOLIDWORKS API development. And some of the functionality of the Cut Plus community is going to be shown today, which is completely free, and some of the macros from codestack.net, which you can access, and we'll share the link with you. I also develop a commercial product, which is going to be launched in months or so time, which is Cut Plus. And I also, if none of this covers your requirement, I also offer bespoke SOLIDWORKS and PDM API development services.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Artem. And just to clarify, this is not a sales-oriented presentation. We're not asking you to buy anything from either of us. Just wanted to show what is possible, what is already available for free. And obviously, if your needs are transcending whatever is available, feel free to contact us for other ideas. I'm going to put this slide right off the bat. It's probably one of the last slides before we move 100% inside SolidWorks. It's showing what is currently available in one of the tools that we're going to cover. So we said we're going to show you a lot of stuff that's available for free. You're going to hear us talk about things that have a plus at the end, like batch, toolbar, export. What are those? So just an idea. Artem is going to add a lot of value in this suite of products, and he's going to talk about it as we go through this presentation. Artem, is there anything you'd like to add on this slide?
No, not at this point, but I guess as the presentation goes, it will be a bit clearer what we're talking about.
Yeah. So right now, the only thing that this slide is about is the fact that you can press a button and you can download a very small file. It's about 15 meg or less, if I remember correctly. I did it this morning. You press another button, it takes another 30 seconds to install it, and suddenly you have access to a lot of tools. And you're going to see what that is all about. Now, when you are telling us that your large assemblies or large drawings are slow, usually you are complaining of two things. Either it takes a long time to open, and we saw that in your answers in the chat when you saw those 8 statements, or after the drawing or assembly has opened, you click on something and you see the blue circle of death for 10 seconds, for 50 seconds, for 5 minutes. And that is even worse, right? You click, you wait, and there goes your productivity, increases your frustration, and things like that. So there are only 2 symptoms, but unfortunately, there are lots of possible causes for slowdown, lots of factors that can slow you down. Now, I'm not going to get into these ones right now. That's why I developed a whole training course that are going to allow you to quickly find what is slowing you down, what exactly is the cause. And then we're going to use one of the tens of tools and techniques that are available in SolidWorks. So at the end of this, we're going to learn how to match the task that you want to achieve, what you try to get right in this moment, with the best practice, the best tool, the best technique to get the job done. Now, if we take one important aspect of this whole training, and one thing that maybe can be covered in a short amount of time, maybe a morning or less, is the large design review mode and the detailing mode for drawing. So we're going to see those things that would be useful not only for power users, but also for checkers, for other people in the company, how you can quickly speed up your productivity by a factor of, I don't know, 2, 3, or 10 even. So the agenda for today, one of the main things when we talk about large design review, for example, is can we add macros? So that's a fundamental question. Can I improve the functionality myself? And out of the box, the answer is no. You cannot run macros in large design review mode. So we're going to find out if that is true, or Artem's magic actually change this answer. So the next thing.
Yeah, so we're also going to show you how you can improve your experience while navigating through your assembly in large design review mode, how you can open each file in the large design review mode, and also open drawing in detailing modes.
Yep. And that's actually a game changer for many of you. I know that some of you are already using these tools and you told us that those are pretty much amazing. This is huge. The ability to open a large assembly in, let's say, 5 seconds, and then have access to all the parts and assemblies along with their custom properties, the ability to read the custom properties, the ability to modify the custom properties, or even better, don't even open the assembly in large design review mode, go directly in File Explorer and get the information. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're all similar to properties. We're also going to show you how you can instantly access bill of materials from your assembly opened in large design review mode, or even directly from Windows File Explorer without the need to actually have SOLIDWORKS installed. And you can export those data to different formats.
Yep. Hardware. How many of you have lots of nuts and bolts in your assemblies? So for example, Artem is going to show us an assembly that has about 95% of the data, the heavy data, are nuts and bolts. So how can we still keep all that information parametrically linked to the assembly? So how many nuts, how many bolts, you insert another subassembly, it adds the correct number of nuts and bolts while not really having the parasolid data for those things.
Yeah. So when you process files in the batch mode, for example, when you're doing an update, quite often, especially when those files are in SOLIDWORKS PDM, you need to make sure that they processed in the right order. And it could be actually a deal breaker for SOLIDWORKS PDM administrator if your existing batch operation tool just process files as they are. They should be processed like from children to parents.
Absolutely. And we're just going to put a cherry on the cake at the end. We're going to show you how we can pick up an assembly and ask SOLIDWORKS to quickly save all the drawings associated to all the components of that assembly to PDF, regardless where they are. They might not even be in the same folder. This is something that many of you who took the Large Assembly and Drawing workshop asked me, is that possible? So at that moment, I said no. We have good news. It's actually possible. So let's start. We're going to start with number one. We're going to take a look at large design review mode and see if we can improve it in with API. I'm not going to go too much in detail at this right now. Out of the box, large design review mode is pretty crazy, and you're going to see how much you can add to it. So let's move on to SOLIDWORKS. I'm going to open an assembly right now in large design review. That potato box, as you can see, it opens in just a couple of seconds. I'm not going to go too much in detail about how many amazing things you can do here, like opening, just simply finding a file and opening directly from the graphic area, right? So I can click on this and I can open it super fast. That by itself, it's pretty spectacular. But the first thing you're going to notice, especially if you're using SOLIDWORKS 2019 or 2020 earlier versions, is that when you click on something, there is a lag. Notice I click on this and it took a while for the click to register. Now, if you are in 2019 and you dare to select multiple components with a window, you're gonna, this operation is gonna take you half an hour, because SOLIDWORKS is simply gonna move this slider up and down, trying to bring this names, the file names in the view. Why is that? Because out of the box, system options and feature manager, you can see even finding it takes time. There is an option here, scroll selected item into view. If I unselect it, you can see now, first of all, again, it takes a few seconds for the change to be registered. Now, when I click on this, the operation is super fast. So what do we get out of this? I need both. I need sometimes to be able to operate super fast. Maybe I select many things and I want to isolate them. That's a good use case. But other times I would like to be able to see that selected component. So what I did here, I wrote a macro that does exactly that. It goes to settings, it goes to feature manager, and either checks or unchecks this scroll selected item into view. And you can see here, I have the assembly toolbar. I added my icon, I click into it. That thing doesn't work. And guess what? I reached out to Artem to see if he has a solution.
Yes, Alan, basically, by some reasons, standard SOLIDWORKS macro buttons do not operate in large design review mode, but fortunately SOLIDWORKS API is pretty extensive, so there's always a workaround. And CAD Plus has an implementation where you can improve your macro buttons experience. So you can just download the tool, install it, and you can just host your macros, but you have some more features in there. So you can share your macros with your colleagues. So if you want to have like common toolbar for everyone, you can just share this in the central repository. And you can also run macros on something like triggers. You can host them in menu, in toolbar, etc. And we already press it up on your site, and you have some goodies already available in your machine. So you can just go through those.
Yeah, so once you install it, once you install CAD Plus, and by the way, this is just a proof of concept. If you want to develop a tool like that yourself, go ahead. But yeah, out of the box, it's free. You install it. What you get is a nice little menu here called CAD Plus. It's actually an add-in inside SOLIDWORKS. By the way, in order to find my add-ins, I need to be outside of the large design review mode. Another crazy limitation of the LDR mode, right? If I'm going over here, you can see I have CAD Plus toolset as an add-in. And let's take a look at some of the things that you can do. So one thing that I learned from Artem is that if I want to run a macro, I can use a tool called Toolbar Plus that gets installed with this. And you can configure it. I already have it configured to add a toolbar. So this is the first thing that you see here. It's actually a toolbar. And inside the toolbar, I added 3 macros. Now, there is another thing that's special about the tool, Artem. If you are part of a team, can you remind me what that is?
Well, you actually can create a toggle buttons for your macros.
Okay.
So for example, that macro to toggle on and off the scroll item into the view, it's a nice candidate to be a toggle button. So rather than just having 2 buttons to toggle on off, you can actually see the state and can quickly do and undo that change.
Right. And one thing that, so doing all this, it took me about 5 minutes to add these 3 macros. Actually, the most of the work was adding this code here that I got from you. What if I have 10 other people in my team? I don't want them to spend that extra 5 minutes. What should they do?
Yeah, so to be honest, this was actually the idea which actually makes this product alive. So the point is, how do I actually share those macros instantly with anyone else? And all these macros saved into the single file, which you can put into the local shared directory, and everybody in the organization who has an access to the directory will be able to access those macros instantly. So if you modify that file, everyone after a start of SOLIDWORKS will have a new macros.
Okay, so I have here a location where supposedly there should be a file. Let me just look for that. Yeah, you're right. So what you're saying is that SETTS file, if I put it on the N drive and I tell everybody go and get this, grab this file, that's all they need, right?
Yeah, it's actually just to point to that file, so they don't need to
just
copy
to point
that
to the
locally.
file.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Because that's one of my main challenge when I try to share my work with anybody else. SOLIDWORKS has the copy setting wizard, which is pretty nice, and I can save my interface. But notice here, if I try to save the toolbar, I'm saving all the toolbars. I cannot just select. I mean, you can have a macro toolbar design, but this is not it. Okay, so since I added a toolbar, let's take a look at it. It's gonna be listed in the standard toolbars. I called it Large Assembly and Drawings. Let me put it right there, and notice it has 3 icons. And one does exactly what I mentioned, scroll selected item into view. So now if I click on this, notice I click on this, I have to wait for this to appear. Let me press the button, and like Artem said, looks like it stays toggle, stays pressed. Let me click on something else. So I'm clicking on this, notice there is no scrolling happening, so I can work really fast. So I guess that's the first goal, the ability to run macros inside the large design review mode. Let's take a look at the takeaways.
Yeah, so the takeaways, standard out-of-the-box functionality to host macros in the buttons does not work in large design review mode, but SOLIDWORKS API does allow you to run those macros still. There is a tool which you can use to host those macros. By the way, this is a free tool and it's also open source, so you actually can just pull the code and see how it works. It's just no magic, just SOLIDWORKS API. And you also can share those toolbars, and you can invoke macros based on some events, such as file opening or saving.
Absolutely. And we got a question from Manish Patel. Are you going to show us how to download CAD Plus? And you probably noticed that I did that directly in the browser. If that's not enough, no worries. We'll have a link for you at the end of this presentation. So Manish, let me know if that answers your question. If not, we can, at the end of the presentation, we can go into more details. Okay, you saw that I already have two other buttons. So let's talk about a use case, a typical use case for large design review mode. I have here quite a lot of assemblies, and some of them are pretty big like this one. And notice when I right click, I have two options, either open it fully resolved or open it lightweight. But you know what? I would like to open it in large design review mode. And one thing that Artem did for us, he added this nice little button, which by the way, you can have it also in the context toolbar, or you can have it on a regular toolbar. So if I click on it, let's see what happens. The whole subassembly opens in seconds in large design review mode. And from here, I can select another subassembly. I don't know how big this is. And let's try to open it also in large design review mode, right? The crazy thing is you can even open a part in large design review mode. Actually, not, it's in quick view mode. It's not a large design review mode. So if you have a complex step file that is coming from a customer and you simply want to take a look at it, you can do that with opening it in instantaneous, really. It's just looking for the graphic triangles of that specific part. Artem, do you think I can open more than one assembly with one click?
Let's give it a go, Alan. You can select multi-select in the tree and just run
so I don't know. I'm just gonna select a bunch of things. I don't even know what I'm selecting, but all these guys I would like to open in large design review mode. So let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at that. So if I'm looking right now, what I have open, I'm able to use the large assembly as a directory. So imagine your whole team is going to have the top level assembly open in large design review mode. You don't even need to check it out, obviously. And from there, go and find your information, right? Go and find it. You are in the middle of a design review mode. You're in the middle of a design review meeting with your customers. This is an amazing tool, right? So actually, you know what? I'm too lazy. Let me close all of them this way because it's so easy to open the main assembly one more time in large design review mode. So it's easier to close all of them and reopen it again. Can you imagine doing that with your assembly resolve mode? That wouldn't be possible. Okay, so we know about assemblies. What about drawings? I know that this guy has a crazy drawing. I didn't know, you know what? I don't even know the part number. The drawing might not even have the same number as the assembly, the same name as the assembly. And this one, I think it has 2 or 3 drawings associated to it. I would like to open those 3 drawings, Artem, but fast.
Yeah, look, you might know that there is an option in SOLIDWORKS to open drawing, but it has quite a few limitations. So first one, it actually doesn't work in large design review mode, so you cannot even try it here. But there are a few more. So your drawing has to be named exactly the same as your original file and need to be placed in exact same location where your original file, which sometimes could be a deal breaker. So you might put your drawings into subfolders, or you might just name them differently, or you might have 2 drawings, for example. So, but again, SOLIDWORKS API and simple VBA macro can just help you with that, and you have it on your toolbar at the moment.
I think I found the icon. So I opened the main assembly in large design review mode, and then I select 1 or more sub-assemblies. And then I press this button. Let's see what happens. Remember, this might have more than 1 drawing named differently than the actual sub-assembly. Okay, so let's see what happens. How many windows got open? There are 3 windows, so the original assembly. And I have this one that has only 1 sheet. And by the way, this is in detailing mode, meaning that you can do quite a lot of work with it. One thing that I might be tempted to do is to add a balloon here just to see if it recognizes the actual part, and looks like it does. And then I hit save and my drawing is saved. By the way, when you save the drawing, make sure you are zoomed to fit before you do that. Let's take a look at the other drawing, which is crazier. Notice the names. They don't even match the file name in any way. So here I have 12 different sheets. And you can see I can quickly navigate from sheet to sheet. And because I'm running SOLIDWORKS 2020, without the assembly being loaded in the memory. So right now, even though you see the top level assembly, which is no disassembly, is loaded as large design review mode, it really doesn't have the information of the drawing required. This drawing opened on its own, like you would open it in AutoCAD, let's say, a bunch of edges loaded there. But the cool thing about these edges, they are intelligent. They know to which faces, to which components they are attached to. So for example, one crazy thing I can do right now, let's create a detailed view of this part of my, isn't this crazy? I don't need a drawing for this. It simply scales up this view and it places it there. What if we try to add a bunch of dimensions, maybe from here to here? Wouldn't that be nice? Look at that. And I can add tolerances and all the other crazy things, whole callouts. So anyway, this is not a lesson about the large design, about the detailing mode. But isn't this crazy how, again, you can go from the top level assembly, use it as a directory, as a way to find information, and from there go anywhere. And once you're ready, go and save your drawing. And the other crazy thing about saving in 2021, from a drawing in detailing mode in 2021, the saving operation of a 12-sheet drawing took 2.5 seconds. And this is nothing short of amazing. Okay, so pretty crazy stuff in here. Let me close this once and go back to the assembly. And you know what? We already know that if we close the assembly, open it again, it's gonna go really fast. So I'm not gonna spend more time on this. Let's take a look at the takeaways.
Yeah, so we're basically showing to you how you can improve your experience while navigating in the tree of large design review mode. So you can open assembly or multiple assemblies, sub assemblies in their own windows, preserving the large design review mode. Same applies for drawings. So you can open them into detailing mode. And what I want to say that all of these macros, which were shown here, they are free, open source, and we will share the link at the end. So you can just download, modify as you wanted to, and use it.
Absolutely. Now, just one disclaimer. Working with tools as powerful as large design review mode and detailing mode can be dangerous. So with great power comes a lot of responsibility. If you're not fully aware of what these modes can do, just do it in a sandbox until you get accustomed with the tools and find all the pros and cons. Or even better, join us in one of our large assembly services or large assembly and drawings workshops, so we can learn how to use the tools, not only the best way possible, but also the safest way possible. Okay, let's take a look at something that many of you wrote to me before this presentation. You really wanted to see how you can do custom property management in large design review mode. This is actually this idea, again, if we go back to that slide with the user, the product definition, and the developer, it didn't come from me. It came from many of you during these partnerships. I said, you know what, I can open this assembly so fast, right? So let's open this assembly super fast. But then I told you, well, you know, large design review mode is amazing. You can click on a part and you have this properties button, but then you clicked on it and you got let down. Like, okay, is this the only thing you can tell me what the component description is? What about material? What about where I purchase it from? What about, I don't know, all the other cool stuff that you guys put in custom properties? So what I did, I reached out to Artem and I said, Artem, what can you do with a file that was open like a collection of pretty pictures?
Yeah, SOLIDWORKS provides some additional options to work with those metadata files, and it could be nicely integrated into large design review mode. And you have a preview version of the tool, so that's not yet available to general public. So if you install the tool, you will not be able to see that just yet. But Alan, you can just go to Properties Plus and just
let's select something first. So I want to select this guy and this guy. So can I select? Should I select one part or two parts?
You can select multiple, but just make sure you select from the graphics from the tree.
Okay. So what I need to do is to turn this back on, right? So sometimes it's good to see where things are in the tree, because the tool, the way it is right now, and remember it's still in beta version, you select things from the tree, right? So maybe I'm selecting this component. I'm going to the tools, CAD Plus and Property Plus, and click on the grid. Oh, the same thing, I can add it in the context toolbar, so I can save quite a few clicks. Now, this is crazy. Watch this. This is the part. These are all the properties that are inside the part. And I see a couple other options. So let's see if this part has configurations. Looks like it doesn't. If it have configurations, what would happen here, Artem?
So if you can just scroll your, like make this windows a bit bigger so you can just expand configurations, yes. And you just
it does have two configurations. There you go. So you can get properties for each configurations. And if it has cut lists, you're going to see also properties for the cut list. Now, one thing that sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is correct. Yes, and you can select multiple components and you can select all files, for example, from this assembly.
Okay, I don't care about configurations and cut lists, but one thing I would like to do, I want to put my name on this part. You know, I did this part, not JA. So I'm going to put here AV. Is this going to do anything or is just a pretty thing?
That's good. So basically now, before you apply, so now if you hit enter, for example, so you'll see that you'll have like a...
Oops, let's try again. I think I hit enter in the wrong
property page.
Tools, property plus and grid. Okay. Oh, look at that. AV is there.
So it's already applied.
Let's change it to AT, Artem Taturevich. Okay. So now you say if I press enter. Oh, there is a little pen here showing you what does this one mean.
Well, that means that this property is going to be modified when you close your property manager page. So you can add new properties if you want, and you can also indicate with visual feedback.
Can I add a new property here?
Yes, of course.
I would like to add the vendor property.
Yep.
How do I do that?
Just right mouse button on a column, and just there is an add property. Just type name.
Vendor.
Hit enter. Okay.
Yes. I think it goes to the end, right? Oh, look at that. So let's type here. This is purchased from Steel Store.
Yeah.
Okay, and press enter.
Yep.
And
so now you see there is
in this case. I see a green star. Okay, so right now if I click OK, so this is 100.899.001. If I open it in its own window, let's open it for a result, right? No quick view mode, no nothing. And I go to its properties. It's drawn by you, apparently, and I'm purchasing from Steel Store. That's pretty crazy. What if I want to get access to all the properties of all the components, let's say at the top level of the assembly? Can I do that?
Of course you can. So you can access just top level components. You can access all components. So, and it will take just a couple of seconds.
So what do I do? I just go to top level, right?
Yep. Okay. So it will take a second or so. But you see like it's pretty much instantly loads all of the properties into your grid.
This is nuts. Now, I'm just going to throw something that you guys are going to think it's impossible. I'm going to select, give me all references, all the components in all assemblies and sub-assemblies. And hopefully it's not going to take 2 hours because we have just a few minutes left. So let's see.
It's 600 files, I think around 600 files. So it probably will take 5 seconds or so. Okay. Shouldn't be that much.
Okay, let's see. So it's pretty much transverse, getting the information from where? Directly from the files themselves?
Yes, basically from all the files and all the properties. So they've done quite a lot of work. So probably just took longer to render this data than actually to read this data. And it's thanks to SOLIDWORKS libraries which SOLIDWORKS provide, which you can read the data directly from the file.
Okay, now I'm gonna do another crazy thing. So we're good. We know that we can change those. We know that you can use it. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find the file inside the file explorer. And I'm going to close SOLIDWORKS. Okay, so SOLIDWORKS is closed, so I'm not cheating. I don't have SOLIDWORKS running. And let's see if we can get the properties from here.
Okay, go to
is there such an option? Oh, there. Let's start with the part. Let's not wait too long. So let's try with properties plus for this part. No kidding. And again, I can change things directly here.
Yes, you have similar experience, but even more, you actually don't even need to have SOLIDWORKS installed on that machine to do that operation.
You don't need SOLIDWORKS, you don't need PDM?
Needs a SOLIDWORKS license. You actually can even install that just to modify the properties. So
Okay.
including catalyst, yes. So you saw there is a catalyst property here as well, yes. So when you click catalyst, yes, there is a catalyst property. So you can just do that as well.
Yeah, I can add the catalyst properties. I can.
You unchecked it
because usually catalyst adding and modifying properties, it's a chore. The interface is not as nice as it is for custom properties. So it looks like you can do that. Now, again, those of you who are already inside the PDM environment, before you jump and try to use a tool like that, just hold on and have a discussion with us, because you don't want to confuse the functionality, right, of PDM data cards with all this, but this can have a role even in a PDM environment.
Yeah, if the data card is linked to custom property, like it will pull that information. So this is like real custom properties. There is nothing artificial about that. So what we have demonstrated to you is how to instantly access custom properties from configurations, file, cut list, including the large design review mode, Windows File Explorer. And we haven't shown that, but you can just if you open assembly in a regular mode, you still can do the same batch processing.
That's actually an important thing. So this is not limited just to large design review mode. It works also in resolve mode. And this is the crazy thing. Without SOLIDWORKS installed, you can read and modify properties. So if you need somebody to type things without being an engineer and you have not invested in PDM yet, you can still do that, which is pretty crazy without a SOLIDWORKS. Okay, let's take a look at this one, because the next thing from custom properties is kind of logical. We should move into BOM. And again, let's start from large design review mode before we try anything else. So I'm going to start SOLIDWORKS one more time.
So do you want me to share that? Do you want me to share the
screen?
Oh,
yeah. You know what? Why don't you share the screen? And in the meantime, I'm going to load another file. So I'm going to stop sharing. You take over.
Yeah. All right. So you should see my screen now. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Alin? Okay, cool. Yep. So I'm just going to do pretty much what Alin did, and I'm just going to open assembly in large design review mode, the same assembly actually. And one of the limitations of large design review mode is you cannot pull the bill of materials while you're opening that in the large design review mode. And sometimes you might just want to export that bill of materials to XML or CSV or Excel file, so you can then put it to your ERP system or PLM system. And now you actually need to load this fully resolved, unless of course you're using something like PDM where you have an access to that functionality. So let me show you another preview product, so that's not yet available to public, which allows you to pull bill of materials instantly from your assembly, even if it is opened in large design review mode. So at the moment, what is happening, it's actually going to compose user bill of materials and display the user interface for you. So it's actually, you don't need to have a table installed or something, a table inserted to access that functionality. So as you can see, you have a bill of materials table here. You have some templates which you can customize yourself. So what properties you want to see, what levels, like indented, top level only, and so on and so forth. And you can navigate through the tree to see the properties here. You can even move your mouse over the component to actually see the preview of that component. And you can also do an export, for example, from here. And you can just select various formats to export the metadata directly from assembly opened in large design review mode. So this is just a very quick.
That's very nice. One question that we received was, when are you going to have a beta version that can be shared with some of our audience?
So within the next 2 to 4 weeks, this is my plan. So it's going to be alpha initially, and then it's going to be public beta. But it's very close to release, yes. So just as a summary here is we can compose bill of materials from assembly opened in large design review mode, and also from File Explorer. I'll show you that a little bit later. And you can export that to the formats of your choice, and you can then use that format to bring it to ERP or something like that. All right. So
that would be a good use case to mention, right? The fact that some people manually type the values of information from SOLIDWORKS into MRP. I know that some people don't even put bill of material from SOLIDWORKS on their files, but the good news about this, you can even bypass completely the regular bill of material from SOLIDWORKS, right?
Yeah. And do you want to talk a little bit about the second one, and I'm going to show that?
Yes. So allow me just to share my screen for a second.
Yep, I'm just going to stop my
screen. Because one thing that I have here, I loaded that potato box fully resolved. So this is fully resolved. Then I turn on the assembly visualization showing the total graphic triangles. And notice there are quite a few components that have lots of graphic triangles. Let's go by parts. And let's move this rollback bar to see the ones that are contributing the most to the graphics complexity. So let's say, show me everything that's close to 100,000 triangles. And now we're going to see those ones kind of isolated in here. And it's surprising to see where the graphic complexity of this assembly is. All kind of rivets, all kind of little things like this nut, this bolt. I know the correct, I know the proper quantity. I also want to know where these components are located, which faces are being mated. So the bill of material in SOLIDWORKS, I want to appear correctly, but I don't want to have them slowing me down as models in my file. So I'm gonna ask Artem to share his screen and see and show us if he has a solution for something like that.
Yes, just 1 second. Oh, my Zoom disappeared. Share screen, share. All right. So let me activate SOLIDWORKS. So here, guys, I have a much simpler model just to show how it works. So I have a model of a ladder, which has a few components, few repetitive components. And here we have some hardware inserted here. So we have bolts and nuts. And basically, those are the major part of that.
Artem, I'm not sure if you're seeing your screen. I think you're sharing the application instead of sharing the screen. Do you mind sharing your whole screen? So stop sharing and sharing again the screen.
Just 1 second. Yep. Second.
Yeah, now we can see your screen.
Okay. Can you see SOLIDWORKS?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry for that. So I have a simple ladder and I have some hardware components in here. And when you insert hardware components, there might be several reasons, but sometimes you just want to have your bill of materials appear correctly. So you can generate a bolts list and you can then order those components, for example. So in this case, really what you need is just the metadata about that bolts and nuts, the type of that bolt, maybe part number, their quantity, and sometimes a location. And this is pretty much all you need. And sometimes just to achieve that simple step, you actually have to insert those components into the assembly. So let me show you a product which came initially as a proof of concept, but now I think it's a bit more mature. But I'm just going to show you as an idea which we discussed with Alan and how to make that easier and better. So let me open assembly which does not have those bolts inserted. So it basically has none in here. So obviously, if I would insert bill of materials at the moment, it's not going to be correct, right? So it's not going to list bolts. So let me open that file. And what I want to do is I want to insert a metadata, which is going to act like my hardware. And as long as this metadata appears on my BOM, I will be happy. And what this tool allows you to do, it allows you to create files with just metadata components, which contains some metadata. Similar to SOLIDWORKS file, you can have properties, you can have configurations, but it is not a SOLIDWORKS file. So let me just go, for example, to nuts. And what I can do, I can just create a new bill of materials item definition file. And I can just double click on that. And the editor is going to be opened. And here I can just fill the properties. So I can add more properties. I can add more configurations. I can add preview and so on and so forth. But what is one of the features which is available here is I can import that from another file. So for example, let me just go to my assembly. And I'm just going to open that guy and just quickly navigate to that nut. So I just want to copy the file path to that nut. So I think it's just somewhere here, hardware. Let it be this one. So I'm just going to open that.
So are you getting the properties directly from the SOLIDWORKS file?
Yeah, so I can import and then modify them. So what I want to do is I want to just copy that file path. Just a bit of a hint for you guys. You can hold the Shift button in Windows and click right mouse button, and you have a new menu here, copy as path. So you can just copy the path, which is quite useful. I found this to be very useful. And what I can do here, I can do file, import, and I can just select that file and just going to bring me those properties. So I can obviously modify this if I want to. So I can, let's say, remove this, add new one, merge, change, whatever I want to do. It's already loaded the preview for me, and I can just associate with entities where this should be installed. So for now, I'm just going to skip that. So I'm not going to use it now.
Okay, so just a second, this is mind blowing. So what you're saying is that people don't, if they already spend the time to add all these properties in their hardware parts, in library parts, they don't have to type them again. They can simply click, okay or not, I want the property from this NUT because I'm going to remove it from my assembly. I'm going to maybe have two configurations, one with the NUT visible, one with the NUT simplified, remove, but the data should stay there.
This is correct. Yes, this is correct. And this is pretty much what I did. So I just grab the metadata from the hardware components here and created those metadata items. And what I'm going to do now is to insert them into this model. So just to make it a bit easier, I just make it a bit selection set. So here I'm just going to insert NUT, the bolts. Here I'm going to insert nuts, and here another screws. So the way I do that is I go into Tools, Cut Plus, Bill of Materials Plus, and going to insert item. And what I have here is I have loaded my library. So for now it's very small. I just copied pretty much just those bolts, and I can just navigate through the tree. So here's my information about the nut. I have preview. I have some properties. Here's my screws. I have preview. I have some properties. I have configurations. And what I need to do now, I need to select an entity where I want to insert this bolt. I want to associate this metadata with that entity. So equivalent to where I'm inserting the bolt. I can also do a multi-select just to make it a bit easier. I'm just going to use that for now. And look, so what I do is I'm going to first selection set, and this is where I'm going to insert my bolt with that size. So I'm just going to pin that. I'm just going to click green tick. So like nothing happens, looks like nothing happens, but bear with me. So I'm just going to clear that, select another set, and now I'm just going to select different configuration here. So you see, like when it selects, some of the properties have changed here because it's different configuration, weight has been changed. So I'm just going to green tick, and finally I'm just going to select this set, and here I'm just going to insert nut. So looks like nothing has been done. Like there is nothing in the feature manager tree. There is no made hardware component folder is suppressed. But if I navigate here, I can see some artificial tree next to my real tree. And this one contains quite a lot of data. So actually you can see all my instances, and you see like they associated with the
it's like they are mated there. They look like they are mated right there.
This is correct. So this is pretty much equivalent to the mate. And you can select multiple, you can select like from different groups and so on and so forth. So you can see part number, you can see name, but what is more important, you can also do some operations. So you can edit that, you can suppress, you can delete, similar to what you do with SOLIDWORKS file. But
you know what,
this
brings me, sorry to interrupt, but I know I just have an idea and I have to think about it. There are lots of people who are dealing, for example, with the wire harnesses where they can have a simple model, but inside that can be a lot of information. So what you're saying, they don't need to model all those things inside. They can simply just, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Keep going.
Yes. So basically here we're just showing this for the hardware part, but the idea of that tool is you can use it to manage some non-modeled items. So you manage your consumables, your raw materials, and this data stays with the model. So if you copy, pack and go, the data is going to be there, and it could be quite smart. It could change its properties based on entity it's attached to. But what is more important is you can bring this to the BOM. So if I go to BOM plus and do a view BOM as I did, you can see that those guys appears in my BOM with the correct quantity, and I can do export if I want to. And of course,
what happens if you go to the top level assembly? Because this, I know that rank is inserted many times. Is that actually being multiplied by the quantity of that subassembly?
Yeah, so look, if I go here, which is my top level assembly, of course I don't see the bolts here, but if I go to Tools, Cut Plus, Bill of Materials, View BOM, I'm just going to see those items under the BOM itself. And I can just select a different configuration here, different templates. So for example, to just see items only. And I just want to point your attention that this screw is 4 times, in the subassembly used 13 times. So if I do items only, you can see that these quantities are multiplied. So this is your bolt list, which you can export. But what is
sorry, I just have to say something. If you guys see me being excited, I'm not playing tricks here. I haven't seen this before, and now the funny thing is, last week I had a large assembly service with one of you. Actually, I see 2 of you from that company, And this is what you asked me. Is there a way to get the hardware instantly reported, just the hardware, nothing else? And looks like you can have templates in this bill of material that Artem is doing. This is mind-blowing.
Yeah. So you basically can select any templates the way you want to structure
Wow.
the data. But like one of the main things that obviously is going to work with large design review mode as well, and even more. So actually you can just close that file. So I'm just going to save that. I'm just going to close everything here. I can even shut down SOLIDWORKS, but I will keep it for now. And okay, so I just need to navigate to that location. And similar to properties which Alan demonstrated before, you can access that bill of materials from Windows File Explorer. And as similar to properties, you actually do not need to have SOLIDWORKS installed, or neither you need to have a SOLIDWORKS license installed. And you can see exactly the same metadata here, which you can successfully export to the format of your choice. And one of the main important things about that functionality is this metadata is super lightweight and it does not affect your performance. So if you insert millions of that items, you will not see any difference in your day-to-day work with assembly, for example. And obviously it will take some time to.
This is a game changer. Can you show us a comparison between the assembly with the hardware and the assembly without the hardware? Just curious, what are we saving?
And here I just want to show you like nice visualization of assembly visualize tool. So here I have two models placed alongside each other. So one is which contains the hardware, and one is which contains this artificial hardware. And if I go to evaluate, and if I go to assembly visualization, I already have set it up to show the graphical triangles. And as you can see that, because I already calculated, it's about 60 times less triangles for that simple model. So if you obviously insert it in the large design review mode, you might save a lot of time.
Did you say 6 times or 60 times?
Well, I think it's 60. My math might be not very good, but I think it's 60. So it's 2 millions and it's 41,000.
Wow, that is crazy. Now we got a bunch of questions in the chat related to this. One is the ability to add these items in the bill of material on the drawing, and I can provide an answer right away. Not currently, but you can save this as an Excel spreadsheet and you can insert the Excel spreadsheet as a bill of material instead of a SOLIDWORKS drawing. But in the future, who knows what Artem is going to do. The other question, will this data also be saved to the PDM BOM, Artem? Would that happen in the future?
So there is a plans to have an PDM integration. So for now, no. For now, it's invisible to PDM, but it's not going to corrupt it. So if you modify the data outside of the plugin, this data will stay still there, but you won't be able to see it there. But there is a plan. There is options to pull that information out there as well.
That is excellent. Thank you very much.
All right. So just a quick recap here. So what we're showing here is how to replace the hardware with a simple metadata, but still preserving your accurate bill of materials, which you can export to different formats, and you can access it from large design review mode, from resolved assembly, or from Windows File Explorer. So now back to you, Alin. So I think this is the last. Yeah.
We have 2 more slides, and we're going to be done. We're a little bit over time, so I apologize to those of you who need to go somewhere else. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to keep going a bit more. Okay, so we talked about metadata. Let's talk about batch processing. So if you attend our large assembly courses, you know that one important component, for example, just one example is to make sure that the image quality setting for all the files is at the same level. So SOLIDWORKS can do multi-core processing of the graphics. And instead of opening each file at a time and moving that slider manually, we can run things like Task Scheduler or Sharp Task or Batch Plus, which is part of CAD Plus to do that. One thing that neither Sharp Task or Task Scheduler can do is the ability to process the files from the children to the parents. So for example, I'm going to show you the standalone Batch Plus that is going to get installed on your computer. Again, it's that from very small 13 meg file. Just going to open up just to take a quick look at the interface. Let me add a folder. You can also drag and drop folders and all those cool things. So I think I have here a folder that we played with until now. Let me just use that folder. Right, so this is the folder. I have parts, I have assemblies, I have drawings. From the macro, let me add a few macros here. So I'm just gonna go to, just have to remember where I have my macro saved now. I think I have them in a folder called, guess what, macros. So over here, let's pick up something like 10% image quality. I'm gonna assign 10% to all the files. Now, when I did this training with you guys, for those of you who attended the course, do you remember what we did? We ran it first for the parts, and then we ran it for the assemblies. And even that wasn't perfect, because we might have opened a higher level assembly before we open a lower level assembly. So that's not really good, especially if you have them inside PDM. So what I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go to the settings. We're gonna run 2021. Now there are kind of nice icons that we can cover at one point. I'm just gonna let them to upgrade. I'm gonna save the files. No timeout, continue on error, and every 100 files I want to restart. So let's start the job.
Do you want to process it in the order?
I shouldn't have done that.
Okay. Well, no. What I'm saying is, like, do you want to process it like children to parents before or not? Like,
yes, I want. So let me stop the job. That's another cool thing that I like about what you did here is the stop job button. Yeah, so cancel. Yeah, let's do that. And let's go back to the settings. Order of dependencies. So I'm going to press this button on. This is going to be new. I think you mentioned in a couple of weeks, right? You're going to release this?
Yes.
Okay, right. So let's run the job. Sorry, you see, I'm not familiar myself with this, but it's going to be a game changer. So it starts SolidWorks, is true, but before starting any processing, it's analyzing the relationships between the parts, assemblies, and sub-assemblies. Notice here, it's building the dependency tree. This is something that all you PDM admins and Power PDM users ask for a long time. Right now, there is only one tool that can do that out of the box, which is the PDM update tool. And even that is not very, very, very user-friendly. Look how user-friendly this is. Level 8, level, let's see, level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And right at the top, I have a bunch of drawings in the top level assembly. Isn't this crazy? And we also have other options. Maybe I want to run only the top components, or I want to run from, for some reason, you might want to start from parents to children if you go top down design, or children to parents if you go the other way around. So that is pretty crazy. Now, the other thing that's really good, and I'm just going to demonstrate it. You can also run it directly from Large Design Review mode. So if I have an assembly, let's say, actually, you know what? I'm gonna run this assembly, open it in Large Design Review mode. You know what's the difference between this and this? I'm gonna show you in a moment. In this case, the client or the end user placed the folders, the files in all kind of different folders. So for example, the drawings have their own folders. And here might not even be the drawings for this part, might be the drawings for a lot of other projects. All the drawings are in one huge folder, or they might be all over the place. I want the assembly to find the drawings for all its parts. Maybe I want to save them to PDF, right? So let's take a look here. I'm gonna go to Tools, Cat Plus, Batch Plus, and this is the crazy thing. You can say run. And now I'm gonna take a look at the macro that I want, which is gonna be save to PDF. Notice I'm opening the assembly. I have the assembly open in Large Design Review mode, but I want to open the actual drawings and process them super fast. So you know what? I don't even need to check them out. Allow read only, allow rapid. So the drawings are going to be open in detailing mode. This is something that currently Task Scheduler cannot do. Find the drawings. So now when I ask SolidWorks to process all documents referred by this assembly. Now think about that. I can find all the documents referred by this assembly. And now I'm going to try to find all the drawings referred by these parts, regardless where they are. I'm going to say that's mayhem because we might have God knows how many folders. Okay, let's click OK and see what happens. So what's going to do next? It's going to actually extract the references of all the parts that are related in this assembly. And notice it's looking in all the folders that are as a subfolder of the folder where the assembly is, but also you can add your own folders here to this list, kind of reference folders. Notice here I have two check marks. Do I want to process the parts, the assemblies, or just the drawings? So let me uncheck this. And let's take a look at the drawings, right? So you can see drawing, drawing, drawing. If I expand this a little bit, you can see the drawing names. Isn't this crazy? I put just 10 or 15 drawings here because I don't want you guys to waste too much time. So I'm going to click OK. And let's see how fast we're going to create the PDFs for those drawings. And notice here the resolve drawing button that tells me that the drawing is not really loaded fully. It's just loaded in detailing mode. And the other cool thing is if the drawing is out of date, you're going to see those yellow borders. So even visually, you can think, oh, this is a 12 drawing. This is a 12 page drawing. And it's just opening like that. And it's going through all of this. Currently, the macro that Artem provided was, I think it was written pretty fast. So by default, is placing the files in a subfolder of the drawings folder. So wherever it finds the drawing is going to put the PDF in a subfolder there. And you can see here it already created quite a and continues to create PDFs. So for example, this is one of the PDFs, right? So let's make it a bit bigger. Let's go to sheet number. I think something that sheet 7. It's a pretty complex one. There you go. Sheet 6, sheet 7, depends how many pages you put on the screen. It's doing things in no time at all. And not only that, but then I can see how many were successful, what macro I ran, and kind of telling you everything that has happened in this. You can do the same thing also with the standalone Batch Plus. So I just rushed it a little bit because many of you are having a few other things. I wanted also to give you the opportunity to ask questions because we have Artem here. He's in Australia, so it's very seldom that we have this luxury of talking to him. Artem, anything you'd like to add about the last two?
Yeah, just want to say that those macros and this batch stuff is free and open source. So you guys can, even though it's not yet fully released yet, but source code is open source. So you can actually pull the code. If you're a developer or you have developers, you can actually look how it works and you can even customize it to yourself. So it's all quite accessible.
Yeah, one of the questions we got was about the roadmap for CAD Plus. Can you just spend a minute talking about that?
Yes, I just want to quickly tell what is there and what is free, what is not free. And it's like Batch Plus in assembly, standalone is free, Toolbar Plus free, all the macros you saw are free. There is something new coming there, Geometry Plus, which is some additional function for modifying your geometry. And there are a few. BOM Plus is part of the paid product, and Properties Plus is part of the paid product, not yet released, but will be soon. And also the biggest one which is planned is Batch for PDM. So basically it's a PDM integration. So Batch Plus and Bill of Materials Plus for PDM, next big thing which we're currently working on.
Excellent, sounds good. I'm just gonna leave, let's see, yeah, I guess that's a good slide to leave it during the Q&A session in case you want to either get more information about the Zarial, how to get there, or if you want to get more information about large assembly solutions in general. Just reading some of the other questions that we see that you guys asked. Is this recorded? Yes, it's recorded. And we're going to make the recording available to the attendees. So Manish, no worries about that. What will happen if you open the assembly containing the items, the BOM items, on a workstation without CAD Plus?
Yeah, it's a great question. So basically nothing. So obviously it will stay with the model. So if you go and modify that assembly, if you change it, it's going to stay with the model. You'll not be able to access it, of course, because you don't have the plugin. But there is an interesting feature. So let's say that you open that assembly and modify something. Let's say you remove the components, right? Or you change the component attached to. And let's say you come back and you open that without SolidWorks, but with that from Windows File Explorer, and you will see the warning saying that your model is outdated compare it to the last known information about this fastener. So you kind of have to open it in SolidWorks to make sure that this is valid, unless you trust that this is a valid change. But the good thing that it is not going to wipe this out from the assembly, from the part.
So one thing that I'm hearing from what you're saying, Artem, is that if a company, let's say a team of 10 people, if one of them uses CAD Plus for the purpose of simplifying hardware, so the moment you start adding BOM items, everybody should have the tool installed. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, correct?
Well, not quite. I mean, if they do want to change it, then yes. But as I said, like it's not going to be wiped out. So the point is, if someone has a tool to modify the hardware, and someone else opened that assembly and saved it, if you open it back, all will stay in the assembly. So it still can work. So if you just have one person responsible for that, that's fine.
Very good question from Sony. And by the way, Sony, thank you very much for all the ideas that you gave us during the large assembly course. Looks like you come with another good questions. And I take this question more like an enhancement request for the tool. Can the hardware metadata be on a drawing via a note on the edge where the hardware is inserted? I think that would be very valuable.
Yeah, not at the moment, but there is nothing important like it. All the tools, all the API are there to make that happen, and it's kind of also a question, also an enhancement, because I think this is kind of the first thing that you want to do.
Yeah, you actually saw that arrow on assembly, right? So in the assembly mode, when Artem clicked on the nut, it actually showed the flag on the model. So I imagine he's going to be able to add it to the drawing too. If there is if you think that is a good requirement, if more of you would vote on this thing, I think would make sense. Artem, do you want also to show them quickly how to submit enhancement requests? And maybe write a bit about your Platinum program.
Okay.
So feel free to share your screen.
Yep. So I'm just going to share my screen, screen one, share. So I should be able to see GitHub. Like,
oh, you shared your PowerPoint. Sorry again.
Why is it? Okay, so I think.
Yeah, just stop sharing and share just the screen. Okay, we can see the Prestige monitor.
Okay, so can you see Chrome now?
Yep.
Okay, I haven't changed it. I just create the PowerPoint. Anyways, that's fine. So what you can do is you can navigate to github.com Xarial Cut Plus, which is this is very stores the source code. So you actually can download the source code of community version, not private one. And in here, I just need to somehow remove that. Okay. This should be okay. So there is an issues tab, and you can create a new issue, and you can type your enhancement request. You can do whatever, like you can associate with that, and everyone will. The good thing is that everyone can see what is planned, what is fixed, and so on and so forth. Of course, you can just send me an email, and you see this on a screen. To if you have some enhancement, and anything will do for me.
Excellent. By the way, we got another vote from Marcel about agreeing with Sony. That's a good idea to add the ability to add hardware nodes.
It is definitely a good idea. Like I can see that pretty much everyone who would use this for hardware, because one of the things that this tool is not just for hardware. So hardware is actually probably the last option you're going to use it with. So it's mainly for non-modeled items, because there is no good way in SolidWorks to handle that. And what people usually do is they just insert the dummy parts with the metadata, and they have a bit of a trouble with that.
Okay. Just looking if there are any other questions. So we still have 68 attendees. So thank you very much for your patience. We're like almost 20 minutes over time. Thank you for your patience. Any last questions? Maybe one thing, Artem, you still have the PowerPoint. Can you put the last slide on with
yes,
with the links?
Yes.
So in case they need to reach out to you directly, they have your email address. They have my email address. And more information.
Yeah. So
good, excellent question from Chris. So can you tell us a bit more about what you envision for the paid version of CAD Plus, and maybe, I don't know if you want to touch upon the Platinum program.
Yeah, so I do have the properties BOM stuff and PDM stuff is going to come to paid version of CAD Plus. So while those toolbar plus, batch plus are going to remain free. And what I have at the moment, I'm running a program where I'm offering like full version for free, and I'm called this Platinum program, where I just have a limited number of seats, and those are customers who willing to participate more like a partners, I would say. So they're going to share their ideas, they're going to access an early visibility versions of this tool, and they can use it in their environment, they can submit feedback. So they probably need a bit more passion because they're going to work with quite a raw versions, but at the same time they can shape the tool. So they will be like a champions for certain models. So they can say, look, like Sony, for example, suggested a drawing, like the annotations on the drawing, and let's say I could prioritize my development based on that feedback. And yes, this is what is my plans. Yep.
Excellent. One question, I'm not sure if you can disclose already, is roughly what's going to be the cost of CAD++?
So there will be multiple sections. So there will be standard, professional, and premium, and it's somewhere between $100 to $1,000 for these different things. Even like Australian dollars, it's probably even cheaper.
Yeah, same as Canadian. Yeah, so
yes,
that's
the same as Canadian.
less than US.
So okay. It's not going to be like it's not going to be magnitude cheaper than SolidWorks and.
Excellent. And one thing from what confirm, if you don't mind, this is a perpetual license, correct? It's not like a Sharp Task where you pay every year.
Yeah, so it will be like, for example, for the standard, for the cheapest one, I'm planning to have 100 plus 20% subscription. So 120 Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, which is, and you don't, like similar to SolidWorks, so if you don't renew, you just don't have an update, but you have a tool, so tool is workable, so you can continue to work with that.
Yeah, I think our customers like to have both solutions, right? Perpetual, or the ability to pay a smaller amount just to renew, to actually get an upgrade. One last question, I think. I see one more question. Actually, two more questions. Will CAD Plus affect in any way custom tools in SolidWorks? I know that you know custom tools very well, Artem.
No, it's not quite true. I mean, I know that there is a tools like that, but I have never, except of some videos, I have never seen. I'm not sure it shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't. Like, I don't use any custom tools APIs or anything from so there shouldn't be any conflicts. So I would say that not, but I'm not sure how this guys how that tool works. So I'm sure
let's leave the same disclaimer that we usually make in our large assembly course. So if you attend, for example, my course, you will get all these macros as part of the course, but with a big disclaimer that it's your responsibility to test them in your environment. If you do something and your computer catches fire, it's not my fault. Right now. And that's a good thing to do with anything that's software related. Test it first before you deploy it in production. I think that's a good suggestion. And a question that has already been answered, but since Andrew asked it again, let's ask it again. Are these macros already available?
Yes, so you can just navigate.
It depends what he understood by macros, right? So there is the application on the macros, right?
Yes. So look, what is available is all the macros used on the first part of the presentation. Open reference drawing, print to PDF. That's the last part. So you can just navigate to that blog post, and they have all of the links. They're all on codestack.net. Again, free, open source. Download, use. Have any questions? Please contact me or Alan. Happy to help. What is not available yet is Properties Plus, so the one which you can modify properties in a batch mode from the grid, and BOM Plus, inserting these metadata items or viewing and exporting BOM. This is not yet available to public, but it is available as an early preview. Soon will be available as an early preview. So like 70% is can be downloaded now for free.
What you saw actually on our computers are tools that are working right now, even though they are early in the development process. So we did, this is none of this was a video, right? You saw us actually clicking all over the place. So the proof of concept is there. Okay, last call for questions, like really the last one before we say thank you very much for taking almost an hour and a half of your time to spend with us. Thank you, a personal thank you to my former students from the Large Assembly Services and Large Assembly Workshops. As we promised during those courses, we're going to continue to research and improve the tool set, best practices, techniques, and we're going to come back to you, and we're going to make them available to you also. So, and you can see the partnership with Artem is becoming better and better. Our relationship continues to flourish, and it's only because of you, because neither he or I are creating products with SolidWorks. We kind of live vicariously through you guys. So please use SolidWorks as much as you can. Find problems, but don't accept the problems. Find the bottlenecks, but do not accept the bottlenecks. Don't accept that the software works like that, because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Even if you cannot find a solution, just come back to us and allow us to be your partners. Allow us to take a look. And who knows, when we add our minds together, Artem's, maybe myself or my colleagues and yours, for sure we're going to find something. Sorry, Artem, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, what I wanted to say that pretty much this product, especially community version, was mainly driven by community. That's why it's named community. So, ideas from forums, ideas from Allen, which is basically translated ideas from customers and students. This is how the tool evolves, and I hope it's going to continue this way, because obviously this is the customer is the main party here. So
yeah, and actually one more thing, there is one more partner. So there's the three of us, right? You, myself, and Artem, but there's also SolidWorks. I don't know if you participating in the top 10 list of ideas from 3D Experience World. I don't know if you know, but your suggestions, the customers of Javelin, we compiled them together, we submitted them. 6 out of the top 10 were actually your ideas. And the reason they were there, the reason they got voted all the way to the top, and we already got the feedback from SolidWorks that they were so impressed with the quality of ideas that there is a good chance that they are gonna appear soon in the software, like the ability to open another subassembly from large design review mode or a drawing from large design review mode. The only reason for that is because Artem and myself and you, we worked together to actually create these tools already, and we recorded videos and we gave them pretty much everything on a golden platter, saying, not only this is how the tool should work, but look, this is how the tool works right now. So let's put all together the 4 pillars of success. First of all, you, the user. Second would be, second and third would be Artem and myself. And fourth, but not the last one, the SolidWorks product development, to which we have really good relationships. So just come back with ideas, challenges. If you have a problem, let us know. Thank you very much. And yeah, Artem, any last words?
No, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to host a webinar. Thanks a lot, and have a good evening, morning, depends where you are.
Yeah, and many thanks to Paige for making this possible. Paige is my colleague from who's an organizer of this webinar. Thank you, Paige.
Thank you, Paige. Bye.
Thank you so much. Great presentation.